scenario that, yeah, there's different cultures coming together, but didn't even think about the different religion, not to mention the blending of the two different families. So this is the 21st century. I mean, this is what it is today. And there's more today in that area than there are just first-time marriages. And even those are hard, the first-time marriages, because like we pointed out, it's your family, your spouse's family, and they don't always jive when you're trying to blend them together. But, that's why we're here. That's why this teaching is here, to try to help you deal with those issues.
Yeah. And we were sort of different religions, sort of meaning that we weren't really doing anything church-wise. But Carol was brought up Catholic, and when I was a kid, I went to a Methodist church. So basically, I was a Protestant, she was a Catholic. But we didn't do anything. So it worked. Sort of. For 23 years, and then it all fell apart, and everything hit the fan. And then we got counseling, and now we know how God wants to do it. And it doesn't matter what we're Christians.
And
right?
Became an instant stepdad.
And I inherited 3 kids, 2 teenagers and a 4-year-old, 37 years ago. So our kids are getting really old.
We can't say we're 29 anymore either.
No, because the kids are older than that. But when you talk about the whole point of marriage really is to try to find out what is great about the other person, right? But the way Satan works, it's like, ooh, that difference, that thing they do, that is so annoying, right? And so then you start looking for what's annoying. And when you start looking for things, you find them, right? So it depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for the good stuff, or are you looking for the bad stuff? You'll find it either way, right? Now, different religions, obviously in the Bible, it tells us do not be unequally yoked with non-believers. So as one who follows Christ, we should not be intermingling with other religions. I'll just put it that way. A lot of people will get married and say, oh, well, after we get married, I'll convert them. Right? Or they're not even saved at all. And, we'll get them saved after. Right? Those are things you need to get straightened out before you get married. Right? Because these are things that lead to divorce. These differences. If you can't deal with the differences, you're going to end up getting divorced eventually. Different nationalities. That's usually not too big a deal, but, you got Irish, French, German, African, a whole bunch of different countries in Africa, right? All these different things, all these different states from different places. When it comes to nationalities, though, if both parties are following Christ, who cares, right? Christ is the thing that holds everything together. He's the glue. So, adoption, one of the things about a blended family and being a step parent is, again, so much is attitude. When you come into a blended family, it's like, well, those aren't my kids, like I did. They're your kids, you take care of them. But as a step parent, yeah, you've been taking care of them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll just be here.
Continue.
We learned a lot of bad things. I mean, we didn't learn them; we just did them. But now we've learned a lot of good things. So, but being a step parent is an awesome opportunity. Right? It's not a pain in the butt. I mean, it can be, but that's not the way you look at it. It's an awesome opportunity to be a positive influence in a child's life, which is what we're supposed to be as parents, right? We have a job to do as a spouse, and we have a job to do as a parent. And it doesn't matter whose kid it is because they're God's kids, right? We talked about that last week. The kids are God's kids, and we're the stewards, and we're supposed to train them up in the way they should go, et cetera, et cetera.
We also tell people, because we get asked all the time in an adoption situation or a blended family situation, well, the child is young, so they don't know me, but when should I tell them I'm not their blood relative? And we tell them, well, pray about it and see what God tells you when you should reveal that factor. But when you do, point out to that child how special they are. Because you not only picked your spouse, you picked them to be part of your family. And that really helps a lot, even teenagers, to know that, oh, wow, he wants me to be his son or his daughter. Wow, that is so cool. But tell them how special they are and let them know. It wasn't just an instant decision. It was something you prayed about, thought about, and really talked to each other about with God to come to that decision. But that is how special they are. I know our son was very sick. But a few years ago, he wrote something on Facebook to Larry. He said, "You're more to me as a man and a dad than my dad ever was." Now, you don't know a background, but for a boy, I think he was 40-something years old when he said that to you.
Yeah.
And for
52
him to
now.
say that was just incredible. And so, these kids are watching. They see how you get along, and maybe they don't blend in real good, but they see how you treat each other. They know how you love each other. And believe me, they will come around. I never thought I would hear those words, because he even today calls Larry Larry. He doesn't call him his stepdad or my dad or anything like that, because he's 52 now. But for him to come forward and say that was just incredible to Larry. And Larry has been there since he was 14 years old. But he's never, ever come forward and saying that. I just thought I'd add it. You just let them know how special they are, that you picked them to be part of your family, not just your spouse, their mom, or their dad. You picked them to be part of your family.
Yeah. And, like I said, so much of this is attitude. If you come into a situation with a negative attitude, it's going to be crap. If you come in with a positive attitude, you're going to look for the good things. You're going to try to be a blessing. You're going to speak life into the situation, right? That's what we're supposed to do. Edify, speak life, right? That's, and adoption, like Carol said, is one of those kind of the side part of a blended family. But again, you're making a choice to be a great influence in somebody else's kid's life, right? But we are adopted. We're adopted into the family of God. Adoption comes with a lot of privileges and rights. Once you're officially adopted, you can't be unadopted. Okay? And we talked a little bit about this. First, marriages are a blending of two or more families. These days, two or more. A friend of ours that also teaches a class put this as a first marriage is a collision of two families. Unless you're both orphans, right? But you have in-laws, you have outlaws. People are going to try to influence you. You're like, my parents may not like her parents or her, right? So there's all this kind of stuff that there's going to be influences. So you have to protect the marriage. Put God first, then the marriage, then your kids, like we talked about in the pyramid last week.
Hi, everyone. Larry and I would like to invite you to our 6th annual Valentine's Day event. It's called Roses and Chocolate. We have a great comedian couple, a Christian comedian couple, Sue and Jeff Duffield from Nashville, Tennessee, coming to join us. It will be on Friday, February the 10th, from 6 in the evening till 9 at night. Come and join us for a great show that they put on called Chocolate and Chuckles. At the end of the show, we will be doing our usual at this event, which is wedding vow renewals. It will be held at the Dream City Church and the Children's Pavilion at 13613 North Cave Creek Road, Phoenix, Arizona, 85022. The cost is $45 a couple or $25 for singles. 2 singles can get in for the same price as a couple. Seating is limited, so we're asking for an RSVP by January 29th. So you can either call me at 602-421-4054 to register, or go to our website at blendedfamiliesministry.org and register there. There will be appetizers and delicious desserts, as well as great drinks for the evening. And this is a very nice date night, so get on your special clothes and just know that what we do for the women, we give them beautiful long-stemmed roses. And for the men, we don't leave you out. We give you a big Hershey's kiss, all wrapped up with a beautiful bow. So that is why we call it the Roses and Chocolate. It's for the men and for the women. But it's a wonderful evening, and this comedian couple is wonderful, and they'll steal your hearts. And just come and join us with several other churches in the valley. Last year we had people that came from 20 different churches in the valley. So this is a community event, and we look forward to sharing that evening with you. And don't forget to RSVP by January 29th. Thank you so much, and God bless.
We got to have things in the right order. We get things out of order, God's not in it at all, or the kids are too high, or you have a mama's boy, and the mother-in-law is constantly telling the son what to do, in spite of what the wife would like for things to be. A lot of people put up with it, but it just doesn't work. It's not the best, So there's just so much about how we think when it comes to marriage. Everything is in the Bible, how to do it. That's the rule book, that's the umpire. If we do it the way God said to do it, it works pretty good. But it really takes a lot of self-sacrificing, dying to oneself, because selfishness is what leads to divorce. Like I said, me, myself, and I is destructive. Father, Son, Holy Ghost is life. Any questions, comments? We're good, we're bad, we're... Wayne, comments? Anything? It's all good, it's all bad?
It's all good. I think that one of the things that I look at is she has a son, I have 4 children. It was a collision initially, but once we went through holidays together, which they initiated, all of them, after being invited, and they all came together, they all sat and talked to each other, and they just kind of melded. We left them alone, and they just kind of melded together. So I think that's real important. It's just having occasions where you can all be together without having to be watching them, prompting them, pushing them, dragging them, shoving them. Kids will be kids.
Yeah. Very good point. Like we were talking about the adult children, they're not, a lot of times they're not interested. We're talking, like 30 and up here. But if they're, teens, early 20s, I really like what you said in that you just let things happen.
Right.
You know, they'll figure it out.
Father will do it.
Yeah.
You pray
Yeah.
prior.
That's a God thing.
This is what we're going to do today.